Hello everyone. Hope all of you are fine. So this is the continuation of first chapter of history, that is advent of Europeans to India, and this is the part 4. In the part 1 we have seen how the new sea route was found to India, how Arab merchants used to trade in India, and how the Constantinople was captured by Ottoman Turks. This led to the find of new sea route to Asian countries. And then in the part 2 we have seen who all came to India. That is, first who came, Portuguese, then Dutch, then English, then French came. So Portuguese and Dutch, in order, they cannot compete with English and French, so their political power and the trade power also started to decline. But French and English were so strong that they both competed with each other. So by this only, this led to the three Carnatic wars. The first Carnatic war from 1746 to 48, then second Carnatic war from 1749 to 54, and then the third Carnatic war was 1756 to 63. We know first Carnatic war ended with the Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle, second was with Treaty of Pondicherry, and the third one was with the Treaty of Paris. So now in this part 4, let us see how was the British rule in India and how did they gain the entire India. That is, how did, after gaining the southern part, how did they go to the northern part. Yes, the British rule in India. After gaining political control over South India, the British tried to gain control over the rich Bengal province in the later part of 18th century. So after gaining the control over South India, they started towards the Bengal province. The Bengal province had achieved tremendous growth in the areas of agriculture, commerce and industry. So by this time, there was a tremendous improvement in agriculture, commerce and industry in the Bengal province. The East India Company was making considerable profits from this province. This Dastaks, that is the license issued by the Mughal ruler Farrukh Siyar, were the main reasons for this. Why it was so strong, why it was so developed means the Dastaks means it was a license which was given to anyone for importing and export without paying any tax and transport goods anywhere. So Dastaks means what? Dastakats means, so it is like a license which is given to anybody tax free. Wherever you can export and import goods and you can send it to anywhere without paying any taxes. So due to this, there was a lot of development in the trade and commerce in the Bengal province. It was issued by whom? The Farrukh Siyar. Then, but these dastaks that were limited to the company transactions were misused by the individual officers of the company too. This dastakats were misused by the British East India Company. Then this resulted in the huge loss to the Bengal government. So when they started to misuse, there was a huge loss to the Bengal government. Hence all Nawabs from Murshid Ali Khan to Ali Vardi Khan opposed to such misuse. This led to confrontation between the Nawabs and the company. This resulted in two crucial wars which charted a decisive course to Indian history. Plassey and Buxar were those two wars. So when they started to misuse the dastakats, the license, so our Nawabs were against, they started against them. Why you people are misusing the dastakats? You shouldn't. So that time this enraged the British and this led to the two crucial wars in the Indian history, that is the Battle of Plassey and the Battle of Buxar. Next, so let us see what is the Battle of Plassey. It took place in the year 1757. So Alivardi Khan, the Nawab of Bengal, died in the year 1756. So this person, the Alivardi Khan, the Nawab of Bengal, he died in the year 1756. Then his grandson, who is that? Siraj-ud-Dawla. He was so young, okay? This person came into the throne. Who is that? Siraj-ud-Dawla. So the Battle of Plassey took place between Siraj-ud-Dawla, the Nawab of Bengal, and Robert Clive English. So in between these two persons, the Battle of Plassey took place. Then what happened? Reasons. So as we know before, dastakats we took the main reasons. Here also, misuse of dastakats, then mending of fort without permissions. They used to use the Nawab's forts without any permission of them. The British repaired the court of Calcutta and placed cannons in them. Sirajud-Dawla ordered to remove the cannons from the court, but the British refused to do this. So when he told you must remove the cannons from the fort, they refused to do this. So this was also one of the reasons. Then what happened? Black Room tragedy is one of the important one. What happened is Sirajud-Dawla will once conquer Fort William, which was under the control of English. There he will conquer, then he will win. Okay, he will gain the power. Then he will imprison 146 Englishmen who were there. Among them, 123 will be died in that room only. Okay, so he will imprison that 146 Englishmen in a small room of the fort. Among them, 123 will be dead there only. This is called as Black Room tragedy. This all the things will enrage Robert Clive. So they opposed the misuse of dastakats, who our Nawabs opposed it. Then he told not to use the fort without permission. Then because of Black Room tragedy, all these three reasons led Robert Clive attack Sirajud-Dawla. Then Robert Clive attracted rich locals like Manik Chand, Omi Chand, Jagat Seth and others towards him. He was successful in convincing Mir Jafar, the military head of Sirajud-Dawla, to stay neutral in the battle by offering him the post of Nawab of Bengal. So what are the main things why all these wars happened is our Indian people were not so loyal. See, the English people attracted our Indian people towards him by offering some thrones or by offering some money or offering some other things. So all these were attracted to his offerings. So they were not so loyal to our Indian people. Among them, who is that? Manik Chand, Omi Chand, Jagat Seth and others also, and mainly Mir Jafar. He was the military head in the Sirajud-Dawla's army section. He was the military head. So by offering him the throne of Nawab of Bengal, they used Mir Jafar. So he said, okay, I will help you people, but after killing him, I want that throne. So he became neutral. He was helping them also. He was observing here also. Then what happens? Encouraged by these developments, Robert Clive declared war against Sirajud-Dawla in the year 1757. So taking all these people's helps, Sirajud-Dawla, he will wage a war against, Robert Clive will wage a war against Sirajud-Dawla in the year 1757. Everything went according to the plan of Clive. Sirajud-Dawla, who tried to escape from the battlefield, was captured and killed. So he was finally killed. Then what happens is this war brought out the immorality, lack of unity among the Indians and the greed of Indian businessmen. There was no morality. There was no unity also. And there was a greed among the Indian businessmen. Mir Jafar became the Nawab of Bengal. Obviously, as English promised them, they made Mir Jafar as the Nawab of Bengal. The company gained exclusive rights to trade in Bengal. As English people only made Mir Jafar as the Nawab of Bengal, they only gained most of the power. Mir Jafar had to pay rupees 17 crores and 70 lakhs to Sirajud-Dawla's war indemnity for the attack of Fort William. So now Mir Jafar had to pay these amount to English people because of has Sirajud-Dawla attacked Fort William and damaged it, to recover that. So now Mir Jafar, on behalf of Sirajud-Dawla, he had to pay to the British. This completes the Battle of Plassey. Then what happens is, in a nutshell, Mir Jafar became a victim of the company. So now Mir Jafar will be the victim. Whatever happens to the company, Mir Jafar will be the reason. And its employees. Even though the treasury went bankrupt due to this greedy nature, the greediness of the company and its officials was never satisfied. So what happened is, now Mir Jafar is the main responsible person whatever happens in the province. So there was a lot of treasury in the Bengal province, but due to the greediness of the English people, all it ruined like anything. It became the bankrupt. Means everything, all the money was completed. There was no even a rupee of money there. That time what will happen? The British projected Mir Jafar as an inefficient Nawab and brought in his nephew Mir Qasim as the new Nawab. So now what happens? They will think, so we don't need Mir Jafar, he's not cooperating at all, so he's an insufficient person, so we'll take Mir Qasim as the new Nawab. So they'll make his nephew, means his son-in-law, his nephew Mir Qasim as the new Nawab. Then we'll see what led to the Battle of Buxar. Now who is the Nawab of Bengal? Mir Qasim is the Nawab of Bengal. Then, so Mir Qasim was an efficient administrator. In the beginning, he remained loyal to the company. So in the beginning, he was very loyal to the company. Whatever the company says, he used to do that. Then he paid 2 lakh pounds to the company and gave away few places to it. So what he will do, after some time, he will give 2 lakh pounds and few places to them, and he will say, he will declare himself as independent. Okay. After some time, first he was very loyal to them, then after some time he will pay 2 lakh pounds to them and he will take these places and leave me alone. Then he will declare himself as an independent. Then what happens? After verifying the misuse of dastakats, he declared that the business is duty free in Bengal. So it will come to his view that the dastakats were misused in Bengal. So he will declare there is no tax at all to anybody in the province. Whomever, whatever they can do, there is no tax at all. So what happens? This will bring a huge loss to the British people. Then this was enough for the British to oppose the Nawab. Then again they'll start to oppose Nawab. They brought in Mir Jafar again and dethroned Mir Qasim. So again what they'll do? So they'll put out Mir Qasim from the throne and they'll again bring the Mir Jafar to the throne. So again, Mir Qasim knew about the cunningness of the British. He went for an organized war against them. He was supported by the Indian merchants and artisans. Mir Qasim entered into agreements with the Mughal ruler Shah Alam II and then the Nawab of Oudh Sirajuddaulah. So what happens? Now they removed Mir Qasim from the throne. Then he was knowing the cunningness of those people, as he wants to protect his nation and he wants to protect his province. What he will do? He wants to wage a war against them. So he will take the support of the Mughal ruler Shah Alam II and the Nawab of Oudh Sirajuddaulah. Then what happens? Mir Qasim faced the British army led by the Hector Munro at Boxer in 1764. Let us see it. Then the combined forces of Mir Qasim faced the British army led by the Hector Munro at Boxer in this 1764. Who is the chief person here? Hector Munro. Mir Qasim was defeated and ran away from the battlefield. Shah Alam II surrendered. The efforts of the combined forces to stop the British failed miserably, but they were failed. So Mir Qasim will run away from the battlefield, but who will surrender? Shah Alam II will surrender to them. So what are the outcomes of this war? Shah Alam II accorded the Diwani rights over Bengal to the British. He will surrender all the Diwani rights of the Bengal province to the British. Shah Alam II gave away all the rights over Bengal to the British for an annual fee of rupees 26 lakhs. So they will force him to do this. So for the rupees of 26 lakhs, he will give every rights of Bengal to them. So entire Bengal will be controlled by them. The Nawab of Oudh had to pay a fine of rupees 50 lakhs for waging a war against the company. So who waged a war against Mir Qasim? But who is surrendering here? Who is surrendering here? Shah Alam II and Nawab of Oudh. Shah Alam II gave all the Diwani rights and all other rights over Bengal to the British. Nawab of Oudh had to pay a fine of rupees 50 lakhs for waging a war against the company. And then with the death of Mir Jafar, so now Mir Jafar also died, the company paid pension to his son and took over the entire administration of Bengal. So they got a better chance. What did they do? So Mir Jafar also died. So they'll tell his son, so we'll pay you so much of money as a pension, give us the entire province. Now the entire control will be under British people. This finishes the Battle of Buxar. Then what happens is, the Battle of Buxar made the British the real holders of power over Bihar, Bengal and Odisha provinces. Even Oudh remained under the control. In 1765, Robert Clive brought in dual government concept. So in the year 1765, Robert Clive will bring the dual government concept. So what does this dual government means? Dual means two. There will be a two government. One is the Bengal province and the another is British people. So Bengal means who? The Nawabs. So the Nawabs will be having only the right of justice and others. Okay, they have the right what administrative issues like justice and others, that only Nawabs should take care, like collecting taxes, trade, all this will be taken care by the British. So two people are ruling here. One is the Nawab and the one is British people. The British gained political control over India to protect their business interest. So in this way, the Britishers started gaining their political, trading, every controls over India. This completes the chapter. Thank you.